Hello, good day and welcome. My name is Mr. JB and today we're going through a tutorial or just kind of like talking about how do you become an apprentice, some tips, some tricks, things like that. As a licensed auto tech and a auto teacher, this is kind of a piece of content that I talk about pretty frequently with students, but I get a lot of questions. I get a lot of people who ask me, not just students but other people in the world, so I want to break some things down. I have a video kind of similar to this, but we're going to spend this just focusing on the apprenticeship piece. Now, as you can see in front of me, I have got kind of like a chart, just kind of made it up really quick, really straightforward, but we're going to break down all these pieces. I've got different websites, things like that we're just going to kind of talk about. Now, if you end up talking about if you're someone who's actually in high school, so in this moment you are still in high school, there's a few options, there's a few things you can do to kind of prepare yourself for the automotive workforce if that's what you want to do. Now, if your school has an auto program, boom, take that. See if you like it. You might hate working on cars. You might hate that entire industry after you spend a little bit of time around it. So if you have that option, great. But I know not every school is blessed to have an auto shop or an auto space. In our board, I think there's 22 schools. We've only got 15, I think, that have actual auto shops. So if you don't have that, co-op is your next best option. Now, a co-op placement is basically a 2-period or a 4-period. So that means either all morning of school or all afternoon. You're gone and you're at a location doing stuff. So you're at a garage, you're at a dealership, you're whatever. Now, sometimes you might be sweeping the floors and doing the not ideal stuff, but that is what the trade is too. When you're starting off as an apprentice, you're doing those crappy menial tasks that no one else wants to do because you're the lowest paid person. Not going to pay someone $40 an hour to sweep the floor when they can pay somebody who's $15 an hour to sweep the floor. It just ends up being like a cost-effective thing. Now, you will gain a bunch of hands-on experience while you're there working on vehicles, doing oil changes, brakes. You might just be shadowing somebody. Every garage and every placement is a little bit different for your area, but if you have the option to do a co-op, excellent choice. Now, for a lot of co-ops, you have to find your own way there. The school is not responsible for getting you there. So to and from that co-op placement, that's your responsibility, whether that's public transit, having your own car, whatever. That's what you will need to do. The other option is OYAP. OYAP is the Ontario Youth Apprenticeship Program. Awesome thing. Now, when you're in your grade 12 senior year, that's the only time you can take advantage of this. Your entire second semester, well, wherever that is, you're off in the trade. You're getting your first year of apprenticeship training done. The government pays for it, the schooling pays for it. You just have to get, again, yourself to school and get yourself to your workplace, wherever that is. Now, you're going to spend 2 days a week at your local college. For me here, it's Durham College. 2 days a week students will spend there. The other 3 days a week they will spend at the workplace. You can only miss so many days, so it's super important that you don't miss them for as much as you can. Otherwise, you have to make up hours and make up other things to ensure that you meet the time requirements. Otherwise, if you're unsuccessful in this, it's also 4 high school credits that you lose, which means that you are going to be doing half a victory lap for sure, to ensure that you meet the requirements that you need to graduate. So just consider that, but this is an amazing option. You're not guaranteed to get it. It is an application process. There's interviews and things like that. But if you have the ability, your school offers it, OYAP is amazing to get you that hands-on experience. You're out of the school, you're out of the building, you're off in the trade, in the workforce for an entire semester. And if you realize after that semester, this sucks, at least you didn't spend a whole bunch of money and spend a whole bunch more of your time to get you to that place. Now, next thing is you got to find employment. Now, finding employment can be easy, can be hard. If you're in an OYAP, a lot of the OYAPs end up hiring their people right away. As soon as you're done, a lot of the OYAPs will just take you on and you're now an employee for that place if you did good work, or they're just going to get another OYAP person next year because it's just free labor for them. If you're in a co-op, chances of you being hired usually nowhere near as high, so just consider that if you did a co-op, it's not any sort of job placement. If you use Indeed, great resource. You can see there's a whole bunch of different places, but unfortunately a lot of places are looking for second years when you start looking at things, third year, fourth year, whatever. But that is where OYAP plays a big role. If you are an OYAP person, it means as soon as you leave high school, you're actually considered a second year apprentice. You finish your entire first year of schooling while you were in high school, so you leave a second year, which is what more people want. They don't want to do the training and the menial training tasks. They want to be able to throw you on things and just kind of have you a little bit more attuned to the environment. So something to consider, again, if OYAP is an option for you. There are these employment offices in Ontario. If you go onto this website, you just type in your area, figure out where you're at, and it will show you the closest one. And you can go there, you can set up an appointment. They can help you find an apprenticeship. They can help you find all sorts of different jobs. It is an amazing resource. They also end up like sponsoring you a little bit. They'll give you a little bit of money towards tools and things like that. That's what they did for me when I was starting off in the trade. So another amazing resource if you're looking for your place and you're trying to start your apprenticeship and get that stuff rolling. Now, if you're out of high school, let's say this is a second career, third career, fourth career, you obviously don't have the option for OYAPs and co-ops and auto placements in schools. There's a few different options for things that you can do. Now, you can just head out and try and find employment. That's going to usually be a little bit challenging when you're trying to find places, because most of these will probably say that they want you to have experience, have your own tools, things like that. And if you're not already in the trade or not just leaving high school with some of those experiences, you might find it a little bit more challenging. So there's a lot of schools, or a handful of schools anyways, that offer pre-apprenticeship programs. Now this is usually a year-long course, and it'll kind of give you a handful of different skills and things like that to show you all of the different ins and outs of kind of the automotive trade. Now, this one says that you're going to earn your level 1 year of apprenticeship training, which means that when you leave this, you're a second year apprentice in Ontario, which is awesome. Again, another way to get you that kind of step up across from a whole bunch of other folks if you didn't end up having the ability to do any sorts of training and things like that prior to. I don't know if Durham College offers this, but Centennial College does. I don't know if any of the other trade schools do in the area or anywhere across Ontario or wherever you're located, but here in Ontario, it is an option to go to some pre-apprenticeship training to get you some of those skill sets before you need to go into the workplace. Again, you're now starting off as a second year apprentice. Yeah, you're off to school for however many weeks, but you're going to be a little bit more prepared and you might have a better chance at actually getting a job when you're going through that stage. Now, when you get signed up for school, let's say you've gone off, you've knocked on some doors. I've been asked this before, do you have to go to school? Answer's technically no, I suppose. Now, when you're going through and you're doing your training, you're going to get signed up. So someone's going to come in from your apprenticeship office. This website will kind of give you a whole bunch of tips and tricks. I'm going to put all the links for everything I've shared up on the top of all my little pins, on my little tabs. I'm going to put them in the description of this video. So that way, if you want to look at any of the stuff I've been showing, you have more resource and more ability to kind of go look at those things. Now, when you're getting signed up for your apprenticeship, you're going to end up, usually you find your employment, you find your place. They're not going to register as you as an apprentice right away. They have to pay some fees. They do get some money and some grants from the government, but they're not going to register you right away. Usually they want to see if you're actually going to pan out. This is where if you're already a second year apprentice, doesn't matter. You don't have to worry about this kind of buffer stage, because usually for most folks, you've been signed on, you've been registered, you're pulled into the workplace. Let's say you're going to work for, I'll just say, a Hyundai dealership. You're working for a Hyundai dealership. Your first year, you're not going to be an apprentice most likely. You start working in, let's say, September. You're not going to probably be a registered apprentice until next summer, because they're going to want to see how you work. Are they going to invest the time and money and effort into training you and preparing you if you're just going to be a flake of an employee? They want to make sure you're going to show up on time. You're going to show up early. You're going to put in the grind. You're going to put in the work. You match with the work environment. You're a good employee. Now, some dealerships and some garages will do that, and they'll try to not sign you on forever. If a garage hasn't done it in a year and they seem like they're not going to, it might be time for you to kind of move on to another place, try and find another place of employment that will, because some garages will trap you into being an oil change person, and they'll be like, we just didn't have it in the books this year, we'll do it next year. If that's the vibe you're getting, move on, find somebody else. You don't want to end up being 5-10 years into your career and you're still the oil change guy. The same idea is if you've already gone to school and you're in your second year apprentice or third year apprentice and your garage isn't training you, it's time to move on. You don't want to be a licensed technician and something happens, you have to find a new place of employment and you don't know how to do anything. That's not going to look good. It's not going to be a good vibe when you decide you want to go for an employment. All of a sudden they say, oh yeah, go tear this engine out or go do these brakes or go do this thing. And you have no idea what to do, no idea where to start, because you've only done oil changes and tires your entire career. Stepping back a little bit, when that person shows up for your apprenticeship or when they register you as an apprentice, somebody's going to show up from the Ministry of Trades or the Ontario Skills folks, Skilled Trades Ontario. They're going to pop in. They're going to give you a big book. This big book, you're going to sign some documents. It is your apprenticeship book. That is what you need to fill out by the time you are going to write your trades exam in 3 years' time. So once you complete your third year of training, then you can end up going and writing your test at the skilled trades office. And then once you pass, you will end up getting your license. You'll be a registered 310S or whatever trade you're going for, depending on if you're listening to this for another trade. You'll now be a registered technician or registered tradesperson under that. For your other time, you are just a registered apprentice. I think I skipped over it. I kind of got a little jumbled. I had someone ask me if you can be an apprentice forever. So do you actually have to go to school? No, but most places are going to want to. If they hire you on as an apprentice, they're going to want you to keep moving forward, so that way you can be better, because eventually they're going to want apprentices to be under you, because they need a licensed person to have apprentices. So if you're not passing through and continuing on, they might not keep you. You're also not going to be getting pay increases. Usually pay increases come with your years of trades experience. So every year that you end up passing school, you usually get a few dollars raise, and eventually you'll be whatever the top of the grid is by the time you're a licensed technician. Something to consider: you don't really want to not go to school. That's also going to teach you a handful of skills that are going to be very important for what you're doing. Unless you just want to be an oil change person, you just want to change tires for the rest of your life, then live your life. But you don't actually need to be a registered apprentice to do those two tasks. Anyone can go work for whatever tire shop or a quickie lube place, and you'll be able to access those skills and do those things. Now, you've been registered for school, or you're a registered apprentice. Someone's going to come in. As I said, you're going to sign some books. You're going to get that signature book. You're going to have two flavors, or as I like to call them, two options for school. You've got block release and day release. Now, block release, different option. Not every school offers this. More schools offer the day release program. Block release, you're going to go for 6 to 8 weeks. You're off at school, you might be farther away, maybe you're driving farther, you're not working during this time. Your school is from 8 to 5, whatever. It's a full work day of school. Maybe you can work Saturdays if you don't have too much homework, but it is just like regular school. You've got classes all day and you're learning a whole lot of stuff. Now, some pretty good benefits to this program is you're going to have this stuff hammered into you for 6 to 8 weeks. There's no weird breaks. It's just this information is being thrown at you. You are constantly grinding on this information. It can be very beneficial if that's your learning style. You're also not getting paid. There's 6 to 8 weeks here. Now you can go on an unemployment, which you usually can't get till the 4th week. And by the time the money actually shows up, you're pretty much back to work anyways, and then you have to cancel it. So you don't usually get a whole lot of money during this time. So could be a bit of a setback if you're already, this is your second choice for employment. You've got a family, whatever's happening, not getting paid for 8 weeks might not be the option for you. School is also way more money. It's about $3,000 to $5,000 for one of these blocks. And again, you're also not getting paid during that time. That can be quite a big hit when you're talking about an 8-week chunk of time. Now, you'll do that 3 times. And then once you're done, you can end up going and writing your license. So you'll end up being done a little bit sooner in terms of schooling. Usually it's in like February, January, somewhere around there, the slow season for mechanics. So that's usually a little bit better in terms of your employer. That usually not as opposed because of that time frame, but a lot of places also don't want to lose a technician for 8 weeks. That means that's 8 weeks that they are down a bay, down a technician, making money for the shop. But again, it's usually a slow season. Day release is the option that I took, which means that 1 day a week for 40 some weeks throughout the year, basically from September until June. I went on Wednesdays, 1 day a week from 8 until 3, you're at school. You have about 4 hours in the shop, and the rest of your time is theory. So that way you're learning theoretically how things work, how to understand stuff, and then you're actually getting that hands-on experience. School is way cheaper. It's about $600 for the year. You got to buy a textbook. You got to do that for block release anyways, probably several for block. So big difference in terms of money. You got to get yourself to school 1 day a week, but the other 4 if your garage is only open 4, or 5 if your Saturdays are open, it means you're working 5 days a week. So you're never really out much money. You're still working the entire time. So you're not really out and losing the same way. You do this for 3 years again, and then you can go write your licensing exam once all is said and done for your schooling. You get all your paperwork, you get that signature book all fully completed, signed by you and your journey person. Now, as you're going through this apprenticeship and doing things, there's a whole bunch of different grants. I've got a couple different websites here. One here from the Canada Services says that as of March 31st, 2025, this isn't going to be available. But when you go to the Skills Trades Ontario website, this other one doesn't really tell me that there's anything in terms of time that is not accepting that. So I don't know if that date, that March 31st or whatever that is actually in effect, or if it's been changed, or this website hasn't been updated. Now, as you're going through and you start, as soon as you become a registered apprentice, you can apply for these grants here. Now, automotive, boom, you can apply, you get $1,000 for tools. You just have to make it, like, put it on your taxes. That's it. You can really do whatever you want, but you're getting $1,000. Most likely recommend you use that for tools. Now, you apply for that, you get it, cool, great. All your application stuff is on this website. I'm gonna again put this in the link. When you end up graduating your year one, you complete year one, you will end up getting one of your apprenticeship incentive grants. This is different than your tool grant. It means you get $1,000. Usually use this for tools again, or use this to pay for school, whatever it is. But your first year, you will get $1,000. Your second year that you graduate school, you will also get $1,000. Now, those folks who do OYAP, I don't know if this qualifies for you, if you can actually get this grant as an OYAP person or an OYAP graduate. So I just give me some grace on that one. If you do know, please throw it in the comments below, because I'm not 100% sure. I don't know of any students who have gone through an automotive OYAP who have applied for it yet. But if I do find that information, I'll put it in the description, or I'll do an updated video in a year or so once there's new information about this. When you end up completing your apprenticeship and you end up going and you go and complete your Red Seal exam, you've gone to your licensing office, you've gotten your exam, you've gotten that completed, you passed, excellent. You can apply for this one-time $2,000 grant. You've got $2,000 for completing your apprenticeship. Pretty awesome. So in the total of the government giving you money for doing your apprenticeship, it's $5,000 by the time you've completed. Not a ton of money, but that's covered, depending on what schooling you've done, that's covered all of your schooling. That's covered a handful of tool expenses or a handful of different things, whatever it is you want to do with that money. And a couple different options about going through and actually earning and completing your apprenticeship. Now, that's all. That's a ton of information. I've been blabbering for I'm not too sure how long. If you have any questions about starting an apprenticeship, trying to begin one, let me know. Throw some comments down below. I'm happy to answer anything. If I have the ability to, I will answer. If I don't know, I'll do my best to find out and give you an answer back, or I'll just have to tell you I'm sorry, I don't know. But as always, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed and I hope you learned something. Have a wonderful day. Take care and be safe.